strings are immutable. Now, immutability basically means that the string, once created, cannot be changed. You can only create another brand new string, which then can be different. Now, this may be a bit confusing because remember, I added two strings together. Remember, Merry Christmas, Merry plus space plus Christmas. But a brand new string was created. That's why that was a new message. Even when we added an exclamation mark in that tutorial, we create a new message. Message equals the message plus one. So let's look at some practical examples of immutability. If we have a string called Bob and it's lowercase, and now you want to change it to uppercase Bob, you try to assign index 0 to a capital B, try to put B there, you're going to get an error. To solve this problem, you could do it a number of ways. You could use indexing, make a brand new string, take the first letter, make that a capital B, add it from the first index to the end. Or you can basically use like a string function like name.title. But regardless, if you want to change a string, that equal sign is what's going to be involved 100% of the time. That's the essence of immutability. So next we're going to look at string interpolation. Now, just a warning, I'm going to go through this reasonably quickly, and I'm going to show you 3 different ways to do the same thing. Now, you don't need to know 3 different ways to do the same thing, but you're going to come across interpolated strings done in a number of different ways, so you should know what it is that you're looking at, essentially. Some of these are relatively recent from Python 3.6, but here they are. So an interpolation is essentially a formatting, printing issue where you use some combination of curly braces or percentage signs. So here's an example of a string. So we got a variable, which is a float, 3.14. Remember how you basically can't add different data types together. You can't add a string to an integer. You can't add a float to a string. But using this, you can basically print a float within a string. So you use letter F, you in curly braces put whatever it is that you want to include there. Now you can also do some operations within it. See, number is 7. We can even do operations, integer operations here. We add one, so 8 is just a number. So remember, the F and the curly braces for the variables or the different data that you're including going here. Now, here's another way, the .format method. The .format, in my opinion, looks nicer and a lot of people use it, so this is probably the most common one. This is where you really should pay attention. You basically call a function .format. The parameters of the function are the stuff that you want to put in the string, and this is how it looks like. So you're creating a string with these open, closed, always empty curly braces. And then in after.format, you're putting in what you want included. So here's another one that's going to have 2. In years, I'll be . Now, .format, I could have put .format here, but just to save space, because, my head's over there. So we have string.format years age, which we're going to fill in. Years is going to be 10. In 10 years, I'll be 40. So last, we have this percentage sign. Now, this percentage sign was the most common in Python 2. And then I think percentage is a bit of a symbol that harkens back to C programming. So percentage sign passes the values where you have to differentiate. See, percentage D is for a digit, for numbers, and percentage S is for string. So here they have percentage D, percentage S, and then percentage in brackets the parameters. So they have 3 cats. I know this perhaps looks a little bit confusing, but now we're going to tackle it ourselves with 3 examples. All right, let's look at some examples of string interpolation. So we're going to make an interpolated string about a person, a pet, and the pet is going to have a type and a name. So let's just make something up. Person can be Jeff. So we're going to have pet name, and pet name can be Rex. One of my favorite sort of TV shows when I was a kid. Pet type. Pet type. And Rex is a dog. So, first style. Well, perhaps even before the first style, this is one way to do it, just using the comma that allows you to print different data types on a line. So you could basically do a sentence. This is not interpolation, but this is what Python's capable of. So you can say person, comma, and then you have to put the strings all in quotation marks, has a, and then comma, and you can say pet type, comma, and now his is. Obviously this interpolated statement wouldn't really work if it was a female pet. Nonetheless, still conceptually valid. Jeff has a dog and his name is Rex. So you could just do this in Python. Control-Alt-L, remember, is the auto formatting, so it takes away the errors. Let's do the interpolation. First, the kind of F statement. Print F. So inside our F, we're going to start off with a person. So these we need open, closed, curly braces, and that'll be person. In fact, I'm just going to write all of them, and then I'm going to format the sentence around it. So we got person, pet name, pet type. And here you can fill in the rest. Person, let's say, has a. We need a space here. Wait, I think this is going to be type first. And his name is, and that could be pet. So all you need for this, I mean, in fact, it's ready to go. I guess we could use a full stop for both. Name is Rex. So I need a space here. And really, like, if you want to add a full stop, we can go comma, full stop. Or you can add a full stop. Jeff has a dog and his name is Rex. So that's interpolation, method 1 with the F. To be honest, this is the least seen, the least common one of them. Let's have a look at the most common, which is the dot format function. So in the dot format function, you do the blank, open, closed, curly braces print. So the first one's going to be a person, and you basically make that. Then you would do has a curly braces, and his name is. Now, all of this should be in quotation marks, really. So, has and his name is. At this point, after the quotation mark, that is the string. You can write the dot format. And as parameters right here, as arguments, we can write person, pet type, pet person, pet type, pet name. Well, let's try that. Space before X. We can also put a full stop after that. Great. And finally, sort of, this is what I would call the Python 2 style, but it works in Python 3 as well. So this is where you have to kind of specify with percentage %s that you're dealing with a string, has a percentage %s, so that's another string, and his name is, and that's, again, we're putting in 3 strings. So this one works the following way. You have to do a space, percentage sign, and then in brackets here, you can put 3 parameters. You can just literally copy these because they'll be the same. Now, and there you have it. Now, regarding the format, I guess why it's particularly handy being a function is that you could have saved this as a variable. So you could have literally copy. You could have saved that as something like m message, m is that, and you could have printed m.format. Pretty neat. Still the same. The funny thing is, with the comma one, adding that full stop without a space was probably the one thing we couldn't really do very easily. So these are the examples of string interpolation. Now, as long as you're familiar with how to read this type of code, I think you're good to go ahead. In terms of mastering any of this, I would just pick one, and I would probably pick the .format function, which personally is the only one that I use out of these three. All right, that's all for this one. See you in the next tutorial.